I've been noticing a ton of patterns that just keep repeating over and over and over again. And one pattern that I see happening in my life is as soon as you help out other people, that's when they would hurt you the most. Um, the people you love or trust the most, those would be the people that would let you down. Um, and that's what's happened with me is I haven't posted any videos because I've been so hurt, so disappointed, and I am working within something in myself that um, I'm not going to go out and criticize the people that disappointed me because ultimately there's something within myself that why is it I'm attracting people that would stab me in the back like that? Um, and there's two people in particular that have so much massive potential that I see um, within them. I would see that these people would want me to trust in them, and yet what they're telling me is that I should never listen to them, I should never trust them. Um, they're pushing me away as much as possible. So it's like, in what way, shape, or form will we solve any problems doing it that way? If nobody is supporting anybody, how is that going to work out? Um, because I'm like, okay, if we're going to live in this world where we never support each other, and I live that rule, and nobody's supporting anybody, how are we going to solve any problems that way? And I definitely am not going to support anybody that doesn't support me. Um, so I just can't figure out how humanity's ever going to figure out how to solve anything if nobody can even solve their own problems. Um, and our problems are definitely tied socially to each other. So, I, if everybody else knows so much better than me, um, then why isn't anything getting fixed? And I even had another disappointment. Um, there is this one place that works with horses and autism, which is something that I really truly believe there's so much potential in it. So I took this really long walk to go and visit this place, and it was a Saturday. Got totally burnt. My nose, my forehead. I am so burnt, and I never burn. Um, but it was like a 5 hour walk just to find out that they're closed on a Saturday. And it's funded by a nonprofit. And I'm saying nonprofits really don't do too much. So I was like, why fund a place that is like closed on a Saturday, which should have been its busiest day? Um, and then I found a place that is cleaning water, providing the the cleanest water supposedly, and talked with them, and was saying that water is, when our corporate structure starts owning water, very, very dangerous. It's like the corporate structure owning your food and your seeds. Um, they will have the right to be able to tell whether you can eat or not, or whether the food is healthy or not, because somebody owns all of the food that you eat. So if you do that with water, and every single human needs water, um, very, very dangerous. And so when I was talking with them, I was sharing my thoughts and my beliefs with it, and they're very into Dr. Emoto and intentions. And I was telling them how dangerous it was for a corporate structure to be involved in water, and they agreed. And I was saying you should be, as nonprofit as possible, and they were like, yes, everything that we're doing is just attracted to us, and um, we're successful because of just the things we're attracted, you know. And what are they doing? They're funding every nonprofit um, that sustains all problems. They're not funding ideas that are stopping the causes of why people need a nonprofit. No, they're in business to make sure problems are sustained so they can constantly perpetuate, look like the hero, um, which is no answer as far as I'm concerned. Because when you ignore problems and you fund how they are sustained, um, then the problem grows. It's the same as a food bank, that as long as you provide free food and never get rid of the cause of why people need food in the first place, then the amount of people that need food will grow and increase and create a depression where there's no food for anybody. And somehow we're going to think a food bank is going to solve the problem. What happens if nobody can afford food? What happens when there's no food to give into a food bank? Then what do you do? So, but these companies want to look like heroes as they perpetuate problems. I'm going to see about this ranch and see if I can offer any helpful information on how they can actually be more productive. Um, but then every time you help somebody else out, they stab you in the back. So I see that what happens is that when you go through a trauma, like I'm going through right now, is really traumatic, especially when I had told this person, you let me down this one more time, and that's it. It's I couldn't say it any clearer that I would be like giving up all hope if you disappoint me one more time. And then the person went and intentionally disappointed me. So I am when you go through this kind of trauma, you formulate rules to live your life by. And the rule I can see myself developing is never do anything nice for anybody, because they're going to stab you in the back. As soon as you help somebody else out, that's when they're going to stab you in the back. And um, happen to think that that's not exactly a good rule. Another rule that's coming to my mind is um, charge. Everybody values money, and it's like, maybe if I'm going to help out other people, they should be helping me first. Um, that seems to be a better, more healthier rule for me. Um, at least I'd be helping myself and putting some value on myself. So I don't know. I know at the end of the day, when something this traumatic happens, the best thing to do is just say, this is a good thing, I just can't see it yet. This is a really, really good thing, I just can't see it yet. And the biggest traumas you can go through will provide you with the biggest lessons, um, the biggest opportunities, the biggest gifts that you could possibly imagine always comes through your biggest disappointments. So I'm about to get a really massive biggest gift if I'm open to it. But it sure doesn't feel like it in the moment. It feels so horrible. It feels, I mean, the rules that want to come into my head of how I want to live my life in the future are like making me paralyzed, because when I come up with a new rule, I'm like, okay, well, how does that work? And if everybody did that, how would that work? And it's like, well, that wouldn't work, so that's a bad rule. Um, so I'm like trying to come up with new rules. Um, don't know what it is yet. Don't know what the gift is yet. All I know is I'm going to just be open to something is really good. I just can't see it yet. And just be as loving as I possibly can through it, and see what turns out. But hell, does this feel horrible. This is the worst possible feeling that I could feel. Um, Mostly because it's like you would trust your parents, only to find out parents would do you the most physical and emotional harm. I would trust my kids. They're such loving kids, but they would hurt me um, in a flash. Um, Religions. You walk into them for help, they'll disappoint you every time. Doctors, we walk into them, they'll disappoint you every time. A politician will disappoint you every time. Uh, a police would disappoint you every time. You know, you help somebody else out, they'll disappoint you every time. Um, so being disappointed in humanity is a pattern that I see in my life all the time. And I want to believe in humanity. I know we're capable of doing so much better. But I think we're in a chaos stage. Um, I don't mind helping other people out and supporting in everybody else's directions that they need to go into. But if your direction ends up doing more harm to other people, I can't support that. And doing harm to me, I can't support that. Because if you would hurt me, you would hurt anybody. And at the end of the day, I know that these people want to be respected, want to be heard, want to be supported. And yet, in their efforts of whatever it is that they're doing, all they're doing is pushing me away. I wouldn't want to be a part of it. I wouldn't want to listen or value or have any respect for anything that you would be doing, simply because you don't give that back. So it's like, who are you hurting? You know, yeah, you may have hurt me, but in the end, you hurt yourself because you're a person that can't be trusted. Um, you're a person that wouldn't support anybody else. You're a person that's selfish and would only support yourself and wouldn't do anything to help out other people. And I'm specifically pointing out two people that I think have massive potential. They both think that they're really, really good people. But the only thing that they appear to be good at is helping themselves. And at the end of the day, how far will that get you? Peace out.